Hello everybody, and welcome back to Steven's Fight Show. Alright, so if you're wondering what this video is about, pretty much in my last Jake Paul video, I told you guys that I would make a follow-up video after that video talking about the biggest problem with Jake Paul. And I said I didn't want to include this in that video because the video would have been way too long. So in that case, this is a video dedicated to everything that I want to say about what I believe is the biggest problem with Jake Paul. I'm actually glad that I'm making a whole video about this because I have a lot to say, and for me to include that in the last video, you guys probably wouldn't have even sat through that entire thing. But anyways, let's get into it. Alright, so this problem with Jake Paul actually does not even have anything to do with him. It actually has everything to do with the entire public. So let's get into what I've been wanting to say this entire time. So it's evident that Jake Paul lost the fight, and I'm not disputing that. And I believe there's not a strong enough argument for him to win this fight. After this fight was over, I went on social media to see the universe's thoughts about this fight, and I was expecting some positive responses for a few reasons. 1. Jake Paul grants the world their wishes by fighting a pro boxer, which at this stage in his career, he doesn't have to. 2. He went 8 rounds with someone who was more experienced, skilled, and technical than him. 3. He didn't get finished, and in fact, I believe he held his own and caught Tommy many times in the middle of his offense and managed to even drop him. So with all of those reasonings combined, you would think that the world would at least acknowledge Jake Paul as a boxer. That's it. Just a boxer at the bare minimum. But oh my god, bro. The internet's responses to this fight made me sick. There were so many people that constantly refused to give Jake Paul any credit for this fight at all. He had a good performance for someone who did not live the life of a pro boxer since he was a kid, and yet everyone wants to quickly dismiss everything he's done. Yes, I understand that he talks a lot and he makes a lot of absurd statements. And from that, it could either provoke you to either like him or dislike him. But knowing how the entire world feels about Jake, I would only assume that people hate him. But that shouldn't be the reason why you're not giving him the respect that he deserves. This is the problem with the world, and more specifically the combat sports community. They can't separate their feelings and their emotions from their assessment. You can hate a man, but at least you can give credit where credit is due. It's 100% possible. Look at Mayweather. The dude is one of the most hated boxers of all time. Everyone thinks he's cocky and arrogant, but he's one of the greatest of all time. People can look at him and say, I don't mess with him, but at least I can respect what he's done in his career. Now, I know someone that's watching this video is going to say,
oh my god, he's comparing Jake Paul to Mayweather. He clearly doesn't know boxing. He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm using that as an example to show that there is a massive difference between how you feel about someone and being transparent about their profession. And for the people that say I'm backing Jake Paul too much, in reality, I'm actually not. I'm not even the biggest Jake Paul fan. I'm really not. But I'm not going to cap. Seeing how the world has been reacting right now, it's only made me want to be more of a Jake Paul fan. Every time the dude wins, everyone in the world is so quick to say Jake Paul rigs his own fights. It's all staged, fixed, and fake. But when he loses,
oh my god, Jake Paul got humbled. Bro thought he could beat a pro boxer. Bro tried a pro boxer and found out.
And again, I understand if you talk as much as Jake and you lose, you're bound to get hate coming your way. However, there's no consistency whatsoever. It doesn't make sense. It's clearly just hate. If he lost the fight and you're so quick to say it was rigged, why does it matter so much now that he lost? I thought his fights were rigged, right? If they're rigged, they're fake. So why are you celebrating now that he lost? It makes no sense at all. Like I said again, if you think I'm being a hardcore Jake Paul fan by saying this, then let me ask you this. Imagine anything you do in life, the result will always be the same, or more so negative. If you put him in any scenario, he loses altogether. If he loses against MMA fighters, then he's not a real fighter. If he wins against MMA fighters, the fight's rigged. If he loses against a pro boxer, the world doesn't give him his credit. The world doesn't even acknowledge him as a pro boxer when he got in there with a pro boxer. That's what the people said. Fight a pro boxer so then you can be considered a pro boxer. And yet none of that has been taking place. He literally gains no respect from anyone around the world. And for the people that are saying, oh, it's because he's put himself in this position by talking so much trash and saying things like he'll beat Canelo Alvarez. Again, I can admit that a lot of what he says sounds crazy, but the truth is he's not fighting Canelo tomorrow, or probably ever. First of all, I would like to say this is a mindset. Let's say deep down he knows he doesn't have a chance to beat Canelo. If he's truly a winner and a competitor at heart, then he'll go out and say that he thinks he can beat Canelo. That's the mindset of someone that wants to be a winner. Even Canelo has agreed on the fact that Jake should feel that way. He should feel like he could beat him, because that's the mentality you need to have. I agree that it's delusional, but sometimes you need a bit of delusion to bring the best out of yourself. Second of all, this is a marketing tactic for him to continue to sell fights. get his name out there, and grow his brand. I mean, it's clearly working if you have this many people around the world tuning in to watch a YouTuber pay-per-view fight. You got pro boxers in the game today that are way better than Jake Paul on so many levels when it comes to boxing, and they would die to be in his position right now. I've said this before and I'll say it again. There are legitimate pro fighters out there that would pass up a world title opportunity to fight Jake Paul. You have mainstream media interviewing him and covering his fights. Do you know how many pro boxers would crave for this amount of attention? And he also has haters like y'all who are constantly talking about him. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a marketing genius and he's clearly doing very well for himself if he has this many eyeballs on him with only 7 pro fights with no extensive amateur background. All in all, to summarize everything that I just said, I just want equality in this industry. If I'm advising Jake Paul, I wouldn't even have him fight Tommy Fury again or even another pro boxer, because quite frankly at this stage in his career, he doesn't have to. He can continue to fight MMA fighters in the ring and do just fine. After Jake was beating these MMA fighters, the world requested him to fight a pro boxer in order to be labeled as a pro boxer. He then goes and fights a pro boxer and comes up short and doesn't even get acknowledged for being a pro boxer. So if I'm Jake, I'll just say screw the public. I'm not listening to y'all. I'ma do what I want and fight whoever I want to fight. Because imagine sacrificing your time, energy, and health into one of the most dangerous sports in the world only for you to compete in a reality full of disparity. Imagine if that was you. Think about that. And the crazy part is, Jake doesn't even have to box. Can you imagine what people would say if Jake had won this fight? People would have been going crazy by saying that this fight was 100% rigged. They would have downplayed Tommy Fury as a boxer like crazy. They would have said Tommy was a fraud and not a real boxer. And don't sit up here and say that that wouldn't have happened, because you and I both know damn well that that would have 100% happened if Jake Paul would have won this fight. People also want to dismiss Jake being a boxer by saying he only fights MMA fighters, but do y'all not realize that he has only 5 years of experience in the sport? I understand that MMA and boxing are very different, but they have had way more combat experience than Jake. Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva certainly knew enough about the sweet science to beat Jake Paul. On top of that, people thought Jake was going to lose to those guys. He's taking major risks early in his career, and again, 5 years of learning the sport and no amateur background. We've got pro boxers in the game that has achieved so much in their amateur career that wouldn't even consider to take this amount of risk early in their career. And yet they get praised for it and not Jake because he's quote unquote Jake Paul. Absolutely pathetic. Everything that he's displayed in all of his pro fights shows that he's a boxer, 1000%. He moves like a boxer, he punches like a boxer, thinks like a boxer, trains like a boxer, and presents the look of a boxer in the ring. If you say otherwise, you're a hater or you're clueless. There's no other option. Lastly, to end this off, I've been talking about Jake a lot, but I want to give respect and credit to Tommy Fury. He's had a tough last 2 years with him pulling out twice. During that time, people were clowning him and disregarding his credentials and his ability as a boxer. Real talk, he couldn't even really speak without people trashing on his name, and he came through with the best performance of his career. There was certainly a lot of pressure on him coming into this fight, a lot of it mainly due to his family, but credit to him, he shined under the bright lights. So as much as I was talking about the loser in this video, I have to make sure I acknowledge the winner because that's the man that people will remember. But I'm not gonna lie, bro, that WBC belt though, man. I don't know if y'all saw it, but yikes. That belt looked like it was a belt from Toys R Us or something, man. Apparently, John Fury also wants Jake to pay them their money because Tommy won the fight. And there was a bet that took place on if Tommy was to win this fight, his purse would get doubled. And if Jake would have won, then Tommy's purse would have belonged to Jake. But I mean, it's very simple. They didn't sign the contract. This is money we're talking about, and we're gonna base it off of a handshake. Like, bro, this whole situation is exactly like your ex wanting to get back after your stock went up. But anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for listening to what I have to say. And let me know, do you at least respect Jake Paul as a boxer? I'm not asking you if you like him as a person or not. I'm asking you if you respect him as a boxer, yes or no. Drop a comment and let me know in the comment section down below. Now, if you guys enjoy content that is related to combat sports, please drop a like on this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel down below. That would be greatly appreciated. Please check out my Twitter and my blog for further fight content just like this one. And other than that, it's been Steven, signing out. Peace.